Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of Ezra, the second chapter, picking up from where we left off in the last video, which we went through Ezra, the first chapter, and it was pretty much going into the decree that the Lord had put the spirit on the Persian King Cyrus to make, in which we were allowed, as Israel captives, to be able to leave the place of our captivity, mainly Babylon, and return back to Jerusalem to rebuild the temple, which was destroyed by the Babylonians. And so here in Ezra, the second chapter, it really mainly goes into the records of those that returned to go back and who they were and things of that sort. So let's get into it. This is Ezra chapter 2, verse 1. Now these are the children of the province that went up out of the captivity of those which had been carried away, whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away unto Babylon, and came again unto Jerusalem and Judah, everyone unto his city. So they, once again, just like I just mentioned, after being sent into captivity by the Babylonians, upon their fall, we were allowed to return. Verse 2, which came with Zerubbabel, Jeshua, Nehemiah, Seraiah, Realiah, Mordecai, Bilshan, Mizpar, Bigvai, Rehum, Baanah, the number of the men of the people of Israel. The children of Parosh, 2,172. The children of Shephatiah, 372. The children of Arah, 775. The children of Pahath Moab, of the children of Jeshua and Joab, 2,812. The children of Elam, 1,254. The children of Zatu, 945. The children of Zakai, 703 score, which we know a 3 score is 60, because a score is 20, and so 3 score is 3 times 20, which is 60. So 760. Verse 10, the children of Bani, 642. The children of Bebai, 623. The children of Asgad, 1,222. The children of Adonikam, 666. The children of Bigvai, 2,056. The children of Adin, 454. The children of Ater of Hezekiah, 98. The children of Bezai, 323. The children of Jorah, 112. The children of Hashum, 223. The children of Gibar, 95. The children of Bethlehem, 123. The men of Netophah, 56. The men of Anathoth, 128. Now, this name Anathoth here, right? It's at least when I read it for the first time, it rang a bell, because what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to pull up the definition here in one of these dictionaries. Let's take a look at the Eastern's Bible Dictionary, and let's look for the name Anathoth. There we go. So it says here, Anathoth, the name of one of the cities of refuge in the tribe of Benjamin. And the precept here is Joshua 21:18. The Jews, as a rule, did not change the names of the towns they found in Palestine. Hence, this town may be regarded as deriving its name from the goddess Anat. It was the native place of Abiezer, one of David's 30, and of Jehu, another of his mighty men. It is chiefly notable, however, as the birthplace and usual residence of Jeremiah. And this is in Jeremiah 1:1. Okay, the words of Jeremiah, the son of Hilkiah, of the priests that were in Anathoth in the land of Benjamin. So that's mainly the part that came to mind, the location as to where Jeremiah resided. It suffered greatly from the army of Sennacherib, and only 128 men returned to it from the exile, which we're reading about now. Salakia. It lay about 3 miles north of Jerusalem. It has been identified with the small and poor village of Anatah, containing about 100 inhabitants. So there's a little bit of context on that. Anyway, back to Ezra chapter 2, verse 24. The children of Azmaveth, 40 and 2. The children of Kirjatharim, Kephira, and Beeroth, 740 and 3. The children of Ramah and Gaba, 620 and 1. The men of Michmas, 120 and 2. The men of Bethel and Ai, 220 and 3. The children of Nebo, 50 and 2. The children of Makbish, 150 and 6. The children of the other Elam, 1,250 and 4. And they mentioned the other Elam to make that distinction because, as we read before, and as I mentioned when we read before, Elam is a name, it's an actual name, right? And typically when we hear Elam, because that was the name given to the forefather of the so-called East Indians today, right? The Persians, modern-day Iranians, and so on, you think of Elamites. All right. However, the name Elam is just an actual name. So just when you see the name Elam, depending on the context, it does not always refer to the actual people that descended from a man named Elam, that we know today as the Elamites. Okay, just to mention that. Verse 32. The children of Harim, 320. The children of Lod, Hadid, and Ono, 720 and 5. The children of Jericho, 340 and 5. The children of Senaa, 300 or 3,630. The priests, the children of Jedaiah of the house of Jeshua, 970 and 3. The children of Immer, 1,050 and 2. The children of Pashur, 1,240 and 7. The children of Harim, 1,017. The Levites, the children of Jeshua and Kadmiel, of the children of Hodaviah, 70 and 4. The singers, the children of Asaph, 120 and 8. The children of the porters, the children of Shalom, the children of Atir, the children of Talmon, the children of Akub, the children of Hatita, the children of Shobai, in all 130 and 9. The Nethinims, the children of Ziha, the children of Hasufa, the children of Tabaoth. Now, the term here, Nethinims, it's pretty interesting. You know, when you look into it, it's at least the gist of what they did is somewhat clear, but who they actually were, there's there's different points of view on that. Now we have here Nathayan, and it says here Nethinim's temple slaves assigned to the Levites and priests for service in the sanctuary. Okay, and now when you actually look up the Nethinims, just generally, let's see, Nethinim Bible. Okay, Nethinim. So let's take a look here at Got Questions. Sometimes they have some pretty good information here. So the question here is, who were the Nethinim? And the answer is, Nethinim means given ones or those set apart. The Nethinim were a group of servants tasked with assisting the Levites in service of the temple. So like I mentioned, in terms of what they did, or their purpose, pretty straightforward. The Nethinim did the menial work required in temple operations, such as woodcutting and water carrying. Most translations of the Bible refer to this group as temple slaves or temple servants. Older translations, such as the KJV, transliterate the word as Nethinims. Now, there is a difference between translation and transliteration. Okay, and when you translate a word, you're pretty much taking one word in one language and finding the equivalent for it in the other language, right? So it's understandable. So, for example, in Spanish, somebody might say hola. In English, you might say hey or hello. And you're translating from one language to another. In terms of transliteration, you take the sounds that a word makes in one language, like the pronunciation, and you use the characters of another language to basically make those same sounds. So what's an example? One example is if we pull up, let's go to the blue letter and let's look up the word holy. So this is sort of how we are able to speak, let's say, Hebrew. If you're not one that is familiar with the Hebrew characters or the alphabet, it's probably easier for you to read the transliteration, right? So this, what you're seeing here would be, I think this is the Assyrian version, but anyway, you would see the actual characters. And what they do is, you see this down here? This would be like a transliteration. And the Hebrew here, this is a ah, this is a ma, and this is a ra. And it together is amar, right? To say. In English, in order for us to be able to pronounce that word, you would use the English characters A-M-A-R, because A-M-A-R together make the sound amar. So in this way, you can pronounce the words in another language using letters from a language you're familiar with. Right now, I was looking for holy, which is another example. Yeah, holy. So holy, this is a kwa, da, and sha, and together is quadash. Here, the transliteration is not as on point. It really should be Q-A-D-A-S-H, right? And these are English letters that are used to make the sound of a Hebrew word, so you can pronounce it. So hopefully that makes sense. Anyway, back to gotquestions.org. The precise origin of the Nethinim is a bit unclear. Ezra 8:20 mentions the Nethinim as a part or as a group set apart by David to assist the Levites. Some theorize that the Nethinim originated with the Midianites. After Israel conquered the Midianites in battle, God told Moses to select certain people, cattle, donkeys, sheep, or other animals, give them to the Levites who are responsible for the care of the Lord's tabernacle. This group was later augmented by the Gibeonites, whom Joshua enslaved after they deceived him into making a treaty with them. And then it goes into the precept over there. Now, the point here is that when you come across these kinds of like cases where you're dealing with something like, in this case, the Nethinim, right? Who were they? What did they do? I mean, personally, I think the main part that you probably just need to focus on is just this part here. What did they do? So when you come across a term, you can have a bit of context. But in terms of trying to pinpoint exactly who they were they the Midianites? Were they the Gibeonites? Were they Israelites? Like, who were that part? I mean, I don't think that's something that you necessarily need to spend much time looking into, because it doesn't really hold that much relevance here, right? If you don't want to end up going down a rabbit hole for an answer that's not even, let's say it's not even directly correlated to your salvation or the important parts of the scriptures. So it's also important to, when you're studying or going through certain scriptures, yes, look into certain things, get some context, but also have a balance so you don't end up going down this rabbit hole trying to find out every detail about everything, because you'll never really make progress that way. So let's go back to the book of Ezra, the 2nd chapter, and continue from verse 44. The children of Keros, the children of Saiah, the children of Padon, the children of Lebanah, the children of Hagabah, the children of Akub, the children of Hagab, the children of Shalmai, the children of Hanan, the children of Gedel, the children of Gahar, the children of Reiah, the children of Rezin, the children of Nekoda, the children of Gazam, the children of Uzzah, the children of Paseah, the children of Besai, the children of Asna, the children of Mehunim, the children of Nephusim, the children of Bakbuk, the children of Hakupah, the children of Harhor, the children of Bazluth, the children of Mehida, the children of Harsha, the children of Barkos, the children of Sisera, the children of Thamah, the children of Neziah, the children of Hatipha, the children of Solomon's servants, the children of Sotai, the children of Sophereth, the children of Peruda, the children of Jaalah, the children of Darkon, the children of Gedel, the children of Shephatiah, the children of Hattil, the children of Pokereth of Zebaim, the children of Ami. All the Nethinims and the children of Solomon's servants were 392. And these were they which went up from Telmelah, Telharsa, Cherub, Adon, and Immer. But they could not shew their father's house and their seed, whether they were of Israel. And that's where the problem lies, because as we just read through all these names, the son of this, the son of this, the children of this, the children of that, it may seem tedious, but it was very important, because with that you could identify who was an Israelite. Who do you go? Because number one, you need to identify, is this person an Israelite or not? Because there are certain privileges or customs that pertain only to the Israelites. There are certain limitations on what a heathen, whether a servant or somebody dwelling in the land, was permitted to do and how we could interact with them. So it's important to know, is this person an Israelite, number one. The next thing is, if you are an Israelite, what tribe are you from? Because now when you get into more specifics, this becomes important as well. And more so heavily when it comes to the priests. Because the priests, the Levites, actually had a role to play when it came to the temple of the Lord. And you could not take the chance or the risk that this person says they're a Levite, but you cannot prove it. And it's fine, let them go do the service anyway, because you could incur the Lord's wrath. One example that's kind of similar is with, I believe it was Uzzah, as King David had commanded them to bring the Ark of the Covenant. I forget exactly where it was, but let's just say they were transporting it from one area to another. And as they were doing that, as the cattle that was driving the cart, shook up a bit, the ark looked as though it was going to fall. And this man Uzzah put forth his hand to grab it so it wouldn't fall. And the Lord put him to death right there on the spot. Because Uzzah, I don't think, if I remember correctly, Uzzah was not a Levite. He wasn't sanctified to even touch it. Right? So when it comes down to it, the Lord is very particular about what he wants. In fact, I believe even I remember this very faintly, but I know it's in the Torah. There's an account where the Lord commanded the high priest, right, the one who would be able to go into the Holy of Holies once a year, to, in terms of the design of their garments, they had to have bells on the hinges of their garment as well. See if I can find that account. And this way, when they would make their way, it would sort of be known who's going where. lest the Lord bring judgment upon them and kill them. So let's see if I can find it. Bells. Okay. Yeah, I think this is it. Exodus 20 and 33. Yeah, this is Exodus chapter 28, verse 33. And beneath, upon the hem of it, thou shalt make pomegranates of blue and of purple and of scarlet, round about of the hem thereof, and the bells of gold between them round about. And this was the garment. I believe this is for Aaron. A golden bell and a pomegranate, a golden bell and a pomegranate upon the hem of the robe round about. So this was supposed to be the design. And it shall be upon Aaron to minister, and his sound shall be heard when he goeth in unto the holy place before the Lord, and when he cometh out, that he die not. See? So the Lord was very specific about that. And as he said, you got to make sure that this is a part of his garment so that the sound can be made, because if not, guess what? He's done. He's cooked. So all that to say that this is why they were very particular, as we're about to read, about proving your lineage, because that was important to make certain decisions as well as to what you could do and what you couldn't do. So going back to Ezra chapter 2, verse 50 or 60. The children of Delaiah, the children of Tobiah, the children of Nekoda, 652. Priests removed. And of the children of the priests, the children of Habaiah, the children of Koz, the children of Barzillai, which took a wife of the daughters of Barzillai, the Gileadite, and was called after their name. Pretty much he married the daughters of Barzillai, the Gileadite, and he ended up taking their name. Hence the name Barzillai, which in the Hebrew, I believe this is Barazal Yah, which is my iron. Okay, I think the Hebrew word there, Barazal, is iron, and the Yah at the end making it my iron. Verse 62, these sought their registry among those that were reckoned by genealogy, but they were not found. Therefore were they as polluted, put from the priesthood. And I believe, I forget exactly when this was, just like some time ago, but and I forget exactly who brought it up, but they were going into the spirituality between the name Brazil, right, the modern day Brazil today, which they're Israelites, and let's see, hold on a second, see if I can find it. I think it might be what was written in Genesis 49, and Brazil, I believe, are Asher. So let's check that out. Is there any other account here? Asher, but you know what? I think what I'll do is I'll save it for another time. If the Spirit permits, maybe I'll do a lesson on it. But it's pretty much going into the connection between the Hebrew of Brazil, what it means and how it pertains to the prophecy concerning them, and so on. So let's keep on going. Verse 62 again. These sought their register among those that were reckoned by genealogy, but they were not found. Therefore were they as polluted from the priesthood. See, so because they couldn't prove it, they had to be treated as though they were polluted, meaning like they couldn't draw near to perform these services that they were wont to do. Verse 63, and the Tirshatha said unto them that they should not eat of the most holy things till there stood up a priest with the Urim and with Thummim, because this goes into the importance of the Urim and the Thummim. Now these were stones that were used to almost like to determine the judgment or the decision of the Heavenly Father on certain matters. So if we do a quick Google search on Urim and Thummim, Okay, maybe let's take a look here again. Got questions. So the question here is, what were the Urim and Thummim? The Urim, which it means lights, in the Hebrew is awarium, which is lights. Awar is light, and the yum at the end makes it plural. So awarium, lights, and Thummim, I believe this in the Hebrew is thamayum, but I'd have to double check that. But here it says perfection were gemstones that were carried by the high priest of Israel on the ephod. And for a visual, you can look at this, Urim and Thummim. And if we looked at images, maybe we can just get a decent looking one. All right, there's not like really good ones coming up, but the point is, when you look at these are just depictions based on the description given in Exodus about the design of the priest's garment. But there were certain, like you had the ephod, which is just showing you here. You had the robe under, and then you had the breastplate, which had 12 stones in there. And then you had a place where the Urim and the Thummim would go in the breastplate. So just for a visual of what we're reading. So it says here, they were used by the high priest to determine God's will in some situations. Some purpose that God would cause the Urim and Thummim to light up in varying patterns to reveal his decision. And I mean, this makes sense because the word here, Urim, literally means lights, right? So it makes sense, you know, that this is something that would happen to make it clear what it is that the Lord's decision was. Others propose that the Urim and the Thummim were kept in a pouch and were engraved with symbols identifying yes, no, and true and false. And ultimately, we'll find out the details of it all in the kingdom. There's certain things we know based on what is written in the scriptures, but it's not 100% detailed. But we know enough, which is what we need. It is unclear whether the Urim and Thummim were on, by, or in the high priest's ephod. And then it goes on more and more. I think the main point that we wanted to get is what was the purpose of the Urim and the Thummim? What was it used for? And we got that. So if you want to know more about it, you can do some research on that. And yeah. Verse 64, the whole congregation together was 40,002,303 score, beside the servants and their maids, of whom there were 7,337. And there were among them 200 singing men and singing women. Their horses were 736, their mules 245, their camels 435, their asses 6,720. And some of the chief of the fathers, when they came to the house of the Lord Yahweh, which is at Jerusalem, offered freely for the house of God to set it up in his place. They gave after their ability unto the treasure of the work 61,000 drams of gold, and 5,000 pounds of silver, and 100 priests' garments. So the priests and the Levites and some of the people, and the singers and the porters and the Nethinims dwelt in their cities, and all Israel in their cities. And that brings us to the end of the book of Ezra, the 2nd chapter. Lord willing, this is edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha Kodash. And until next time, Shalom.